a...
Well, hello. I thought I'd go up pretty well. Well then, why not jump right to it? Ooh, a whole bunch of errors and shit. Oh well. We'll deal with that once we get there. For now, let's change the scene. Whoa. Come on, I said whoa. There we go. Right here. Now, what we were working on last time, we were trying to figure out terrible attack container node attack. Yeah, that's this guy. Look at the level. Look at those transforms. Look on the circle base. So now we have this here, which is just creating a random ass attack using one single rune with a rune projection. So now, I guess we'll have to figure out how to get the power and the filtration system to function here to do something. And yeah, we'll have to make four different filtration runes for one for each element, pretty much, so that we can then make sure that changing them out will actually do something. We'll also make a couple of versions of a power source, but we'll probably do the same one with different numbers. And then we can change those out and just see, does it change things? Because then when we have all of that done, then in the name of making testing look slightly more fun, we'll see about building a UI. Some kind of basic menu, nothing too exciting. But we can hopefully then figure out how to click and drag things. Just because I think that'll be fun. But first, we'll have to, of course, jump into here. And make a new scene. And draw here to goals 19/1/26, because that is a correct date format, you know, escalating from the smaller to the bigger. And or, you know, bigger to smaller. So look at our goals. What do we do here? It is and make the power source work. And then, of course, followed by that. Make alternative runes for testing. There we go. Not that much to draw, to design today. And kind of, we know what we're doing. We're pretty much just reworking shit we built before, and hopefully just getting into the state where it would, you know, do what we want it to do. In the meantime, let's move that around. Let's give one last mix of spin. And drink some coffee. Coffee keeps you going. True. Alright, so we have the filtration rune shenanigans. Let's save that one. Then we can always, okay, starting out with your goals for the day for the day seems to be a good idea, and also because then we can date it, and we can always then look back on this and see if we can consider how much did we do. In fact, we should look at the previous one So for this one, make generic attack from circle with no runes. Oh, and make it active. We did that. Edit attack with runes. We achieved this. So those were the 2 goals we got done. So then, we start with our goals, and we check did we get it done. Then we're gonna have a sort of kind of log of progress. Plus, next time we start, we can see the first thing we see is, any unfinished goals with possible notation of what the hell's going on. And the most important thing is that step one thing that's been really annoying me is just renaming this one. Now, do we have a place in files? Find just elemental power. "23 matches and have 7 files. Replace all." No, undo. Following files are newer on disk. The fuck? Stern class member init. Huh. Let's try to reload the current project. Scanning files, please wait. Delta low script runes power source class. Function signature doesn't match the parent. The parent signature is activate rune dictionary void. There you go, fast. Power source class. And filtration. Projection works. And filtration has been altered. So now, if we reload the project one more time, will we get those same errors? So I'm guessing I made those changes and forgot to save properly. I'm guessing it was kept on saving the local file I was working on and not the entire heckin' project, which would explain some of those things. Yum yum. There we go. No more errors. What the fuck are you? Editor messages. Debug adapter server started. GD script language server started port. And okay. Output is fine now. Fix that thing. Now, if we look here at, we're not going to look at a rune projection, rune filtration, and frankly, we can probably do here like a close all. We open the filtration class, the elemental power class, because we need to know what the fuck we're doing with it, and the circle base. Now the circle base has this spell state of attack, waste, and raw power, and we want to just deal with the raw power here. Okay. Now dealing with these two, because this is what the projection does when we dealt with that one. Here we're doing spell state waste. Yeah, creates new waste, new everything. Frankly, yeah, what we should do here is no, we'll do that whenever we do a new math. We make new ones because this is has these, you know, the good old inbuilt waste management, so I don't need to free the memory, especially like we do in C. So on this one, we just create a new waste, a new raw power, and then we'll send it through the logic. And the logic will be you get the activate rune with this dictionary into the filtration. Now get that one. You can only assume there might be some stuff in there. I mean, there might be empty things, there might be things with actual content. If empty, well, it'll still try to filter. If you have the, you know, zero, a filtered zero is still a zero, so now we'll do nothing. So that'll be okay. Underscore init to filter string none. Else filtration addict to filter equals 1. Yeah, currently we can just, you know, initialize from rune base to create a rune, and we can tell it what it is, pretty much. Is how I've done this. And we've had it at 100% efficiency. We might have to redesign that entire thing. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so we look at the filtered elements. Now we have waste. We have the runes inbuilt. What is it actually filtering? And we have the raw power. So if we then look at the elemental power structure here, we have the turning into an attack. Yeah, cool beans. We have our get filtered. So we give it a filter dictionary, which in this state would be a dictionary of our new LMRes. Elemental power equals elemental power new. for filtered LM in filtered ICT, which we got there. We do add logic transfer power from all elements per efficiency of filter. Total value question mark. Well, hello there, Krish1321. Hope you're doing well. Nice seeing you. And we're looking at this thing we did this all in one sitting, and it doesn't really work with how things ended up working. New elemental resistance point set elements.
No MWC.
Hey there, no My Winter Car. There will be My Winter Car, but it's later. Well, first there'll be 2 hours of this. Couple of hours of game dev, then My Winter Car. Because we have, started the long-term game project for this year, so, I gotta work on it too. Gotta find some time for it. And I was thinking if we just start every stream with a couple of hours game dev, we'll get there. This very early point will be very boring to watch because there's no in-game graphics or anything to test really. We're building the logic behind the core system, which will need to be rebuilt time and time again eventually. Right now we'll do... So get filtered, you're outputting an elemental power. You're getting it in the dictionary. Okay, so get filter would always be, so we have that logic we just came up with last time. So we have one list of things to be the raw power, one list of things to be then the waste that we save. So if we then do we do the filtration logic inside the elemental resource or externally? I guess we could do it inside the rune itself, rather than asking the list to do it, because it has access to both lists. So it's okay, yeah. So depending on its own internal logic, it will simply remove stuff from this one. So yeah, I'm gonna change that one. So I'm just gonna get rid of that one completely. I was doing too many things in one single place again. So this one having setters and getters and so on, and this turning it into this will be something we'll probably also have to then change. Move from inside here into the projection rune, but that's okay. I mean, that entire logic needs to be rewritten anyway, so just deleting it all only hurts a little bit. But I hope you're doing well, Krish, by the way. And at some point, we're going to have to add more game projects. So this is the year-long project of getting this to at least a publishable, demo alpha state. Minimum of that, because the ultimate goal is to get it into a state where I can ask for money. If we can get it into a state where it's final publishing, that'll be amazing. But, the good old early access. Because the idea is to use this to then finally turn into a professional game dev. In between, there's another shorter-term game dev, game jam happening that I'm kind of tempted to also add to the list. And there's a third and fourth project I also need to add. Because I do also want to make a game for I would be running doing the stream, because I don't have that much chat integration stuff happening. I was thinking, we could add a little fun form of Gamba or something that's always going on. People can interact with that one in case streamer man gets too focused and it goes non-verbal again, as happens every now and then. Plus, it seems like a fun, interesting challenge to do. So let's jump back into the filtration system. So here we have access to, let's look at, I'm going to copy this thing into here just so we can sort of see it. Okay, so we have our internal logic of how to filter. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're doing inside the elemental power thing currently. The more that we move out, the more... Because I was thinking like, oh no, this thing became too complex. I need to make a new thing that'll be much more simpler to work in tandem with it. But rather, it's better to like gut it. Remove things that aren't getters and setters and rebalancers or whatever for that to function. And then have an internal boolean for... Are we storing a 0 to 1 value or not? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see that. Because then we have a not 0 to 1 value, then that is damage. Oh, should always be a 0 to 1 value. So the ultimate... So it's just multipliers we're fucking around with. The sizes of those. And we use those... Because right now there's large numbers. What if there were multipliers and it'll be... And there's like a total number. Total freaking magic or whatever. And all the multipliers 0 to 1 would translate to... Yeah, no, wait, no, that won't work. Because that'll go way above 100% very easily. Especially because if we add then like, I don't know, 20 more complex magic systems. But yeah, the point is still to make sure that once we add more magic into the magic system, this mechanism should not be affected by it. That is why I don't want to have this one be a separate dictionary, but it should also be an elemental power resource / structure, so that if this one grows, the filtration logic won't change, because it'll be using the same setters and getters and so on. We'll just, because I don't want then the filtration to have like numbers larger than 1 essentially, because it'll be easier to just calculate filtration as a percentage between 0 and 1. But that's easy enough. You put a boolean in there or something. Is this meant for filtration? Is this list normalized? If yes, then I know numbers have to be between 0 and 1, and so on. Do not break the math. Yeah. Okay, good. Just simply renaming that also just made me feel so much better. Having elemental power resource, which is getting too much, but just calling it elemental power, heck yeah. Ooh. Might have to rename it later. Don't know. And also, a good thing I finally test that whole, like, rename this one line in all our files. And it heckin' worked. Did bring out some errors, but that's okay. We got those errors fixed, and that was good. Okay, let's have a look here again. So, activate rune. What do we get? We get the spell state, which is a dictionary with 1 attack base and 2 elemental powers. Now, filter doesn't give a shit about the attack. Now, yeah, having the spell state currently as a dictionary defined inside the base circle base rune is also fine. Might want to move that somewhere else into its own resource, so just create those like just.new and also make changes to that one in its own file without fucking around with the logic here. Because we want to make it, know and be aware of even more things, such as the amount of other modifiers, buffs and debuffs, because sometimes you might be under a debuff from an enemy or something, or an item you're carrying or something, or you have runes that give buffs but also give debuffs, because there should be a balancing system. And that is why right now we're doing the boring part of trying to figure out how does this engine even work, getting the basic parts before we get to the more interesting parts of fine-tuning it. That's why I wanted to have the UI design here in the middle, because it'll make the whole process slightly more pleasurable for me. To not have just numbers and text to look at, but having something visual, because I've noticed that instant feedback, visual feedback is very rewarding for me and helps me stay motivated. And considering the fact I'm doing this in a form of visual media, educational entertainment. Also, visual indicators of what the heck's going on are usually pretty good. Now, so spell state comes in, spell state goes out. Can't explain it. Magic. And also, yeah, we proved my theory of yes, I don't need to have this shit be output unless I'm making a copy of it, because yes, these are all references. They're all pointers. God, I love pointers. And veer them. Okay, so. Okay, let's walk through this. We have our raw power. We have a filtration system, which, okay, we know it needs to change, so might as well change now. We're gonna just get rid of you completely. I don't know, call it for just filtration for now. Of type elemental power. When you come into existence, I want it to be an elemental power dot new, so it's brand new, empty one. As we initialize, we'll check to filter not in filtration dict. No. We'll make a piece of temporary nonsense. We'll typecast in a weird way, so it'll be hopefully be visually clear to me to like, and also good old to do remove temporary nonsense. There you go. I love these to-dos. And I like the fact that the color scheme, I do believe like many other coding UIs, you can change the color scheme, but I like the basic one. And I also like that the to-do changing yellow is a bit more subtle than everything else. But also, like, if you write a to-do, it'll automatically like change the color of that one. Doesn't do anything for the text, but it just makes it visually pop out just a little bit more. So if well, we don't give a shit about that, so we just do filtration target equals to filter. There you go. Then we do if filtration target double equals, so actually that means actually equals, a single equals is assign, put the value, put that thing in this box, put the value here. Good morning, just wanted to greet you.
Good morning. Just wanted to greet as a week of hell is ahead of me, cheeky smiley face.
Ooh.
A bigger project at work is finalizing. Private IM selling car, hopefully, and the ex-missus is probably moving out. A pre-recap before the story has happened. I'll just lurk a little here today. Good programming, laughing face.
I'm selling a car, hopefully. Well, that sounds good. Now, well, I mean, the whole ex-missus moving out thing sounds nice because, you know, the story ain't over till it's over kind of thing. You know, a divorce might happen, but before you finally properly, separate ways, things get awkward when they linger. So that sounds like it'll be good for all of you. And being a child from a family where the parents broke up, I wish they would have broken up way earlier than they did. So I hope you all can, remain civil with each other and find happiness on your own. And just, enjoy the fact that you had one good run together, and children happen. And remember that for them, you're just mom and dad. For each other, meh. It's like, I very much like how was it, Pirate Software Thor, he said it, how his father had explained it to him, like, your mother is a wonderful person, but goddamn, but I can't stand my ex-wife. You know, so to know there's different roles there, and always remember one human being can be many things, and especially for when a third party like the child in this case is involved, and selling the car. Hopefully, well, I hope you get a good price. Thanks, I understand. Hey, that's good thing, Ugla. I'm sorry. I was not meant to be like judgmental or ranty there about there, but thoughts pop into your head when you have the ADHD kind of thing, and then you gotta get it out. So I'm glad you can find a way. I'm glad that thing's working out. And bigger project work is finalizing. Yeah, that sounds like there's always going to be a stressful time. You didn't all good, get it out, bud. Well, thank you, Ugla. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for the lurk. I really do appreciate it, and I hope the finalizing of the project will be as painless as possible. I know it won't be. It never is. It doesn't matter where you work. The finalizing is always, should say, exciting. On any large project. Alright, now so we're doing here filtration target is none, print invalid. Filtration target, just so we have some kind of knowledge of error. We could probably do in and then space, then we do a comma. No, not comma. Then we do a plus because we add to the string, because this is something that doesn't happen in many languages, but in GDScript it happens, and it's very neat. It's just, it's just simple. It's easier. You can do the same thing, yes, in all languages, but just using different commands, different kind of syntax. But in this one, concatenating strings together is easy, but using a plus. And what are we adding to it? Well, we use str, which enables a function for just stringify. Turn into a string. What are we turning into a string? Just self. Turning itself into a string. So that way it will identify who this. So invalid filtration target in, and then so that it doesn't add that directly after the n, we add a space and a semicolon to additional visual clarity and another space, and then we add the plus string self, because this one will add no spaces. Random deets. But okay, so now we have the init thing done, and if we don't give it something to filter, it'll at least complain. It'll still try to work. I keep on trying to run away from this, but let's get into the meat of the matter. So spell state dictionary comes in. Spell state, we have we copy it up there so we can see what the fuck it does. Okay. And infiltration, we have then some information, which will be between 0 and 1 and the target elements. How do we get that out of there in a most sensible way? I do believe inside elemental power we do have get main elements, set add get elements, return underscore elemental power, and elemental power is the dictionary. Because this one works, because then we can just add all the things here. Yeah, so I gotta remember this thing is more object oriented than I'm used to making things. So essentially this resource here is also, the class name is an inbuilt object oriented object. It has its variables and it has its inbuilt functions. And we're trying to make, and we use getters and setters to get the information to and from here to make sure we don't interact with the information inside in an incorrect manner. And also so that, like I said, we can later make large changes to this thing. And it won't affect how the code works, because even if we change the name of these variables, how they are built, if it always gets, give me that list, it's expecting a dictionary, and the dictionary comes from get elements. As long as this function works, no matter how this is built, whatever is relying on this will still function. So yeah. Yeah, turn to attack needs to be moved away from here, and that's okay. Because this thing is what the projection, the rune should be doing, not the resource. Calculate total, I mean this is again, when I see these, don't think about, I'll fix them later, always add it to do, so I'll know to fix them later, because otherwise I might forget, and then I'm not sure, like, is it really used anywhere? Can I really just get rid of this? I don't know, man. Well, we're not going to delete it yet, because some of these things are touching it, and this is not the target for right now, so remove not useful. So you're not useful anymore. You see me do my smaller project, and you notice that that was something I don't ever do commenting. On a larger project, it's growing, so now I need to I need to add comment to explain what does this do? Why is it here? Because like I said, even in a smaller project, I will easily forget what the fuck I'm doing. Which is why I try to name things always as clear as possible. Now I need to add commentary. Because sometimes it might not even with clear naming, it might not be clear what it's doing. So by commentary, I can at least then explain what is the motivation behind it. What is this supposed to do? I saw in Arcane I needed to comment always, trying to organize, because I forget. Exactly, well, yeah. Commenting is super useful, very important, especially if you ever work with anyone else or when you're trying to learn how something works, because then you can just comment on what are you trying to achieve here. And depending on, I don't know how the coding language, the Xenon, works in Arcane, but I don't know how many of these things you can rename and so on. But that's why also in, for example, I see people's code in Stationeers and they name everything R0, R1, and they maintain those. And that is absolutely fine. The code works beautifully. The point is, it is not very easily human readable unless you, already know what it's supposed to do and how all of that works, which is why I use a lot of aliases. And some people like writing humongous bits of code in one single file. And for them, oh no, we don't have enough lines, and I ran out of bits to make this piece of code. And I'm like, well, do you need all that code in one single place? Could you split it up into multiple places and so on? Perhaps. Because, again, I just prefer having the ability to have it in a human readable state. Always use aliases. Defines are amazing. Defines are super important. People will easily misunderstand why defines are important. And a define is important because if we use a variable in many places, and it's always going to be the same number. So instead of hard coding, this will always go to 100. So you write 100 in all the places. But what if next time you want to change? Oh no, the limit should now be 125. I have to find all those places where the maximum temperature is of 125 and change every single one of those. Whereas if you have them all in a define, or a define in Stationeers, or a constant, what is usually referred to in other languages. So a constant is a variable which, after it's been declared, will never change in the code. Nothing can change it. Which then if we define a maximum temperature of 125, excellent. And then everywhere it is then looking at maximum temperature, and that's always going to be that 125. Like in C, when I was coding, I would have an H file or a header file, and it would have a large list of just constants, things that I had defined to be unmutable, important values. Sometimes I would define values. I would also have, because when I use bit flags to remember. I use individual bits to flag certain things that had or had not happened. And then in the code, I'll then check, has this happened? I would then I have code check if do I need to capitalize this word? For example, when I was doing printf, check, use an and on a bitwise and on the and I should be flagged. Should be capitalized flag. Now I can then should be capitalized. Was defined somewhere else, and it was defined to be the value, say 5. So a lot of the defined look like just 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like small integer numbers, but that was because they, again, in binary would represent, for example, something like that, or there's all zeros or just the 1, 1. And then I check if this is true, this first, because then in this bit I then show if this, because it's a binary, it's a 0 or a 1. So yes, no. Do we need to react on this flag? Or should I capitalize the word? Yes, no. Okay. Do I need to use it italics? Yes, no. Is it in bold? Yes, no. Is this actually a number and I need to do something else with it? Then yes, no. I mean, that kind of stuff. Random thoughts. Me again, trying to run away from doing the hard work. Okay. But yeah, commenting and using self-explanatory language and variable names. It's better to have too many variables and too many constants than not enough. Because you can always prune and cut them down later. It's hard to add more, like, later on. Random thoughts. This really is apparently bugging me. Okay. So first we'll do variable. We do to_filter. Now here we'll call this one actually, the filter dict, I guess. Filter_dict for just because in my head it makes sense, dict being short for dictionary. We'll cast it as a dictionary, and it equals filtration.get elements. Double check. Yeah, get elements just returns a dictionary, which will be our list of elements and the power within. So now we have a list of the elements to filter. Okay. Then we could have our the power dict, which would be from spell state raw_power dot get_elements. So now we have two dictionaries. We have the raw power and the filtration. Now, if we do this, here's the question. Do I get a reference to the dictionary inside there? I might not want that. Same dictionary as from. If you need a copy of the dictionary, use duplicates. Dictionary creates and returns a new copy of the dictionary if deep is true in your dictionary and rank keys are valid. Are also copied recursively. That is simply a list of floats, so we don't need that one, but we could see. Here's an example. So duplicate returns a copy of the dictionary. We don't need it to be deep because we don't have dictionaries inside dictionaries, which would be for the deep one. But this one we just need a copy of this one. So this way, what we get out of here will no longer be able to affect that which is already in here, because like I said, we want with the underscore here, we want to make sure this one remains a what's the word now? A private. So if we want to make changes into this inside the elemental power, we have to use our setters and changing functions. Now we have copies of the filtration dict and the power dict, and now we'll make all these changes to these I want without fucking around with the original. And then we're done with the math, then we can change the original. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay, so with the filter dict and the power dict, and then we How do we change it then? Now, currently, people think like, oh, there's just one, so we maintain all of one. Okay. We want to filter, say, fire. Okay, then for the value of fire for the filtration system is 1, so we do fire times 1. How do we... Yes. Okay. For LM in doesn't really matter, filter or power. Let's do the filter dict because it comes first. Also add a space there just to have a nice visual separation between our variables and then the actual stuff. For LM in filter dict, so for each element there'll be the key for the dictionary. Then because they're the same structure, they'll have the exact same one. Then we'll have power dict LM times equals filter dict LM. Yeah, and then each element, say if we have the, say, fire be 1, and we come up with the logic for building that one, we'll have to add that one here inside our init, or it'll have to be inside init, yeah. So when we populate our new elemental power for filtration, we'll have to make sure we have our main element, which is the largest number, and everyone else gets, I don't know, 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, depending on the... We'll have to have like an efficiency number, which we could save here inside the rune itself. So we have var efficiency is a float, starts at 0. How much of other elements remain as waste? Determines how much of other elements, unwanted elements remain as waste. Then we can have multiple targets for a filtration system, because yeah, eventually I want to have like multi-elemental structures and whatnots and so on. So an efficiency, because I don't want to mug about. We call it inefficiency. Inefficiency of 1 means it actually removes fuck all. Inefficiency of 0 means, oh well, we remove everything. Because it was efficiency, then in my brain the logic would be working the wrong way around. Oh no, we're all out of coffee. Heckin' tragic. Well, I'm planning to go buy things next week, and maybe I shall buy myself my very own coffee maker to have here in the room, and then I'd just be freaking hyped up all the time, getting heart attacks. Too much caffeine. But then again, I do have the ADHD, my brain is literally built different. Might even make me all sleepy. EP. So spell state dictionary has that one. We have the filtration target, we have the inefficiency. But inefficiency is used in building our filtration. This does this one. So now we actually call you our new power dict. No, silly me. Would you call it the power dict? So now we have the new power system, because we have looked inside all the power we have, we multiplied them according to numbers in our filtration, Oh, right. Yeah, see, we can just add, because the filtration will be a value between 0 and 1. So inefficiency will just be like, what is the base value? And the target will be raised to wherever we want. Yeah. Okay, cool. Excellent. Freaking fantastic. So we could even have here, then actually have var for efficiency. Also float. Starts at 0.0. Add a comment here, and it defines how much of target element is retained. Freaking amazing. Either way, everything else is shoved into waste. Now, how would we then do that? Well, we will need to have another copy from the power dict, or elemental power would have a way of just outputting a float. Since we're making changes into the side there, maybe that would work, because then we don't have to have multiple copies of the same thing. This is one of those silly brain worms to do with, quote unquote efficiency that affects me. Because yes, of course, we could have just easily hey, we'll just grab another copy of this one of the power dict. We'll minus the power dict from the old one, or new power dict from the old one, and because then we have the difference, and we add the difference into the waste, and add the new power dict to be the new values within the elements, which is what we want. But brain is feeling itchy about getting too many copies of one. It's just one of those things. Too many math steps in a way. So we can do it. Then we just add more math steps, aren't we? So it's wondering like, well, but what if we add then to... No, I somehow this tickles my brain correctly. So we'll have get main element with the string, which is that works. It's fine. Main element equals element return main element, and then we have the main element. Yeah, having these stored here would make sense, because then we can always, we have these functions for rewriting them as well. So we'll check which one it is, and we return whatever we save there, so we can just more easily. So get main element should be actually check main element. Get main element should simply return main element. Fair enough. Hashtag to do change to check main lm get should just return string. We can even have okay, let's do it this way. No! Just do it, we have check main element. Then we have a func for get underscore main underscore lm int, which does the returning of the string, random head pane, which just does this. There you go. You should have 0. Wait. So if you're a string, what if we do... leave you there. There we go. Because having getters just quickly give the thing back is what we want to do. To get main element, you get the main element. There's nothing else. When we check main element with just math. Because this way we can... The idea of saving this thing in a variable is to have quick access to this piece of information. And we might have to then change these to have an underscore in the beginning again, so we have no external access, direct access. We shouldn't be using any external straight access to these numbers. They should always be coming through functions. So again, simulate private variables, which is how the language works. I kind of like that. So it allows you to use private variables should you so choose. You don't have to. And if you make something private, you can still kind of skip around and make some weird shit happen. Okay, so the filtration. Right, wait, we were supposed to do here. Hey, got confused, distracted again. We have the calculate total, get elements, get waste average, check main elements. We do that twice. Go here, we do get. Copy. CV. Check waste average. Get waste average. Save. Oh yeah, now we get checkers and getters. I'm not supposed to be organizing these, but hey, here we are. Yeah, calculate should go here. We get getters and setters in one spot. Everything else somewhere else. Add on to unfiltered. Yeah, we're gonna get this shit is getting deleted, so that's fine. Okay. Then we can have logic for checking shit. Then we have for actually adding shit here. And in between we would have effect. So do we have like just effect element returns float? You're given what? A key, a value. How do you make sure a single thing is only changed and only that one? Well, we gave it a dict pretty much. Easiest way. Then we get, we get a nice little 2-in-1. Now, is it a way for me to grab a shit from a dictionary? Can I get the key without? So this thing explains how it works. I want to get the dict key. Points dict white will return 50. You can also write points underscore dict dot white, which is equivalent. However, you'll have to use brackets, syntax, if the key you're accessing the dictionary with isn't a fixed string, such as a number or a variable. In the above code, points will be assigned a value that is paired with the appropriate color in my color. So points dict dot my color, points dict bonk ready, or points dict my color. Export enum. Yeah, this one works, because it doesn't have the brackets, because this is decided elsewhere. Yeah, that's fine, it's fine. That's the kind of shit we're gonna end up doing. Add blue as a key and assign 150 as its value. Add a key to next in the dictionary is neat, but nope, we don't want to do that. Finally, dictionaries can contain different types of keys and values in the same dictionary. String key, numbers and arrays and whatnots and all kinds of... They can contain everything. Dictionaries are make me uncomfortable sometimes. Dictionaries are always passed by reference to get a copy of a dictionary which can be modified independently of the original dictionary use and duplicate. Better music choice today than yesterday, by the way. Feedback. Oh. Why, thank you, Ugla. Yeah, during the game I had my massive playlist of random ass OSTs and I'm realizing it is a little chaotic. So I might want to do a different kind of combinations. Like the cyberpunk is fun and all, but it can get a little wild. I'll have to actually do some curating of my own shit. Otherwise, for coding though, we had the same stuff yesterday. We're just using the good old Chill Hop Tunes link down there in the Padlos for legal reasons. We're using their service. I very much enjoy the Chill Hop Tunes mostly. There's some songs that like just tickle my brain wrong. Otherwise, quite happy with it. Speaking of which, let's jump here quickly and push this button. So now it's in full random ass shuffle. Now we're doing Sleeping Norbu by Slim Remix by Psalm Trees and Alexander. They have a large amount of music and the list keeps on growing, which is nice. And every now and then I find something like extra neat and I add it to an actual like playlist I'm trying to grow, but it is very, very short, very small. But you know, if you need some chill hop and it is DRM free, all you need to do is have the disclaimer, which I have in YouTube on my description and on Twitch in a panel. Where was I? Here it was. Yeah, ads are over. Good, perfect. Yeah, that was a free ad on my part. Okay, now I'm looking at because I want to know what is if you have only one key, what is that key? A variant. Let's see here. No. A variant means it's one of those wild things. Most important data typing Godot. Any. Computer programming, a variant class, is a class that is designed to store a variety of other types. Dynamic programming languages like PHP, Lua, JavaScript, and GDScript like to use them to store variables data on the back end. With these variant, properties are able to change value types freely. The var foo equals 2, foo is dynamically an integer, foo is now a string, refcontent.new foo is an object, and var bar into foo is statically typed integer. Var oo can't make statically typed variables into different types. Yeah, that's why I use statically typed things to make sure they remain as what the fuck I told them to be. I don't want a logic that is expecting an integer to suddenly get a string or some shit. Well, not what we were looking for. So close that one. We'll jump here and we'll look at... Is this one? Return the list of the keys in the dictionary. Heck, yeah. No, but then like... Hey, puppy. In other words, it's a lazy out if you don't like strict typing, Lamau. Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's handy for, I guess, if you're not sure in which form something will come out. But other than that, yeah, I feel the same way. I prefer strict typing. I hope you're having a nice day. And read that documentation to me, you seductive daddy. Well, thank you, Sankira. I'm glad you like it. Oh, yes. Bool has key variant. Returns true if the dictionary contains an entry with the given key. In GDScript, this is the equivalent to the in operator. Note, this method returns true as long as the key exists, even if its corresponding value is null. But okay, I just wanted to see, like, if I give you a dictionary of one, can I grab the key from that, like, in an easy, quick fashion? Maybe I'll just give it a freaking string and float combo. To make this one then do what I wanted to do. We have the checkers, adding... So I was wondering, like, should I do it, like, you know, externally or internally? So we do like a check so that he give you, like, hey, like effect element. When would I ever care? When would I ever care? Sorry, I mumble too much. So if we... Okay, let's not do this here. Let's do this here and we'll do it the way I was kind of hoping. Okay, we'll do bar. For difference, power underscore dict. And we'll put that one there. So diff power dict is another comp of the raw power. Because here we now have the... Essentially will be the new power dict. Then... Oh, seeing as we're going, we can make this happen as it happens. So power dict lms times equals filter dict lm. Now the power dict has been changed according to the filtration system, because it'll be a value between 0 and 1. And then in our diff power, we want a diff power dict lm minus equals the power dict lm. Now after this loop is done, we'll have two lists. One is the new power and one is the leftover. The leftover will be added to the waste. So there we go. We'll change into waste dict. I like these chill tunes, they're all nice and all, but I gotta say, I don't like the fact they then have some songs with the lyrics in there. I wish there was like, just like, I want your entire list, but nothing with lyrics. Could you please add a tag for like stuff with the lyrics? Because lyrics make my brain to listen to it. And like sometimes breaks the focus a little. Tea time. Now this thing making multiple copies of these dictionaries is absolutely fine, because this one will not be, activated too often, so it's fine. Plus, we're making a freaking game. A few copy dictionaries won't affect too much. Ooh, sorry. Sorry about that. But yeah, I always found the weird idea of not liking strict typing, but then again, I know that my opinions on coding and coding practice is, like everyone else's, heavily affected by what was your very first language, and mine being C, so maybe you're just so used to strict typing, like that is the norm. There's no such thing as strict typing. There's only typing. Everyone else going, that's strict typing. I'm like, what else? What? Why would you not type it? Because if nothing else, I like typing because that was an inbuilt sort of nice little bug check to make sure nothing is trying to feed the wrong kind of information somewhere, because the program won't work. Because suddenly someone is trying to input a float into a hole where only an int will fit. And it instantly breaks, instant feedback. Yes, there's a mistake there. It doesn't have typing though? Oh. Am I using the wrong terms? Could be. Oh yeah. I mean, I did everything I did was there, was just C's and ints and floats and so on. And I used those to make sure shit ran the way it did. C# does strict typing. Ah. I'm confused now. So here I was like, look at my summer car, my winter car pages here. To a new tab. We'll do good old man cat. No, wrong one. No, you know, it's type output of int, constant char, and char characters and constants. How are these not typing? This usually refers to classes. Ah, you see. Oh, primitive types. I guess so. Now, strict typing usually refers to classes. Yeah, which would, you know, and classes and things which are, you know, more, object oriented stuff, which in C, you know, would be closer would be structs. My bad. Still relatively new to all this. There's so many things, so many terms I don't know because I'm sort of semi-self-taught. And okay, so now we have the waste dictionary. We have the new power. Now we just need to put them in where they need to be. Changes have been done. So set elements, new element dict, for a new element in new element dict, new element, elemental power, new element equals a new element dict, new element. So we're gonna have to change this one, aren't we? Elemental power takes the value of new element dict, or set element. We make that a plural. Set element dict. There we go. Set the entire freaking dictionary. So now we'll have dot set element dict with the value power dict, and you'll get waste dict and your waste. It means you can't put an instance of the dog class into variable of type cat. Some of those types can, of course, consist of many primitive types or other class instances. And loose typing, as for example in JavaScript, means you could. It doesn't really care about classes. Yeah. Okay, good to know. So you can't put an instance of a dog class into a variable of type cat, and that is called strict typing. And that's like, what's normal typing? Like dogs and cats? Yeah, sure, who gives a shit? Close enough. Or loose typing, I guess that would be. Neat. Okay, so we do the thing. The filter dict, we also, and I'm using it to duplicate to get elements to make sure we don't affect the original. Well, we do some shit. All happens here. For element in filter dict, which is everything we have here. Filter dict time equals power dict, so we get the new altered power dict, and with waste dict, the minus equal whatever we just calculated. So whatever is left goes in the waste dict. Everything else is left inside the power dict. Ah. My God. I think we're done. Mostly, we need to figure out how do we actually build this thing now. Okay, so currently init has just taken in a string. Now to filter. Defaulting it to none. If filtration target equals none, print invalid filtration target in plus stringify self. Okay, awesome. Else what? So if we give you a to filter, then we'll have to add another target, which will be efficiency type float, has the value of 0.0, and inefficiency of type float also has the default value of 0.0. Now, we'll make that a 1.0 just to make sure. And also, we call those new because we already called them efficiency and inefficiency. Efficiency has the value of new underscore efficiency. Inefficiency has the value of new inefficiency. It's going to be a rune, right? Yeah. So we can make these export variables so that when this inevitably we start editing it in the editors and so on, we'll need these inefficiency, efficiency. Now we can check the filtration list. JavaScript treats objects very similarly to dictionaries. They're just a collection of key value pairs with a name and, optionally, a class. But the class is merely a template which gives you the key value pairs you defined. And you can check if an object is of a class. Everything's very loosey-goosey. If you assign a dog instance to a variable of cat, it won't complain. But doing a type check will, of course, return false. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, I see that. And I see why some people then get annoyed because, oh no, the code isn't saving me from myself. I have to do my own freaking checks. Oh, what kind of bullshit is this? What? I'm responsible for my own actions? Wah. But of course, I understand that being a problem in, larger projects with more people. Because everyone has their own way of doing a few things. We'll change the order there so we have the same order here of filtration target. You know what? I have this as temporary nonsense, but it might not be efficiency, inefficiency. I do want to see here. So we'll add it to remove temporary nonsense. Or is it? Well, it is actually, yeah, because we don't want to save these kind of things as strings, but we can actually write shit. This is going to be an enum, I think. That way, the list of enums can change. And the logic here doesn't have to. Making amazing. So with the filtration target, efficiency and inefficiency, so that we can, export and see them quickly. And inside here, the good old init. Next, we'll then have to, make our elemental list somehow. So, our filtration list here. So how does one make one of these appear? So we set element dict, new element dict is a dictionary. Well, this entire thing is gonna need some fixing anyway. So we do vor we'll use that line there. Object orientation is pretty neat because it enforces some clean coding and enables pretty cool stuff like polymorphism. That is very true. It all has its ups and downs. Object-oriented code can still be completely unreadable and full of smells, and also sometimes lures devs into over-engineering. Yeah, but over-engineering has the benefit of you can then like prune and like simplify, making. Whereas hard coding and taking shortcuts usually leads to more work in, re-engineering. I'm okay with the whole over-engineering, yeah, like I said, because I am more of a gardener type in my writing. I built something over-engineered and chaotic like so far, and then I slowly get it to work, and then as we keep on working on it, we'll be pruning off the excess parts. And also because at this point in the project, I don't even know what all we will finally need. So I'm trying to also not over-engineer too much and leave as much open possibilities for the future for once we add more complexity to this entire system. So we have a filter dict. We get a copy of that one. We get copies of our. We have a filtration target, efficiency, inefficiency, and then we do a nice little for loop or for lm in filter dict. If lm equals filtration target wait, no. God, I'm dumb. We do it this way. For lm in filter dict lm has the value of inefficiency. And once we're done with all that, then filter dict to filter has the value of efficiency. First, we make everything have the value of our inefficiency value. Yeah, that also should be a 0. Because how many of the unwanted elements remain, how much the desired shit remains. There we go. So like everyone has the inefficiency value, and then our filter dict gets the efficiency value. Hello there, Caffeinator. How you doing? How goes the Godotton? Sorry. It is going pretty well so far. Slowly but surely getting there. Trying to build a game that makes kind of sense. We're doing it sort of, as the Finns say, pers edellä puuhun, as first up a tree. Because this is my first sort of proper long-term project after a year of doing very, very short-term project of the weekly game jams over on the Try Jam, where you have 3 hours to make a game. It helped me deal with bad habits in game design and so on, and real crash course in some of the things we can and can't do in Godot. And now starting a new long-term project for this year, I'm immediately falling into my over-engineering traps, but at the same time, it's getting there. Now the Secure saying, what the duck is inefficiency? Who started Game Jam 2? Ooh, nice. Yeah, this is my own personal game jam of just make a game that I can sort of publish this year. I would there are some game jams happening that I might want to take part in, but I'm a little worried of having too many projects on at the same time. And Sankiro asking what the duck is inefficiency. For this one is because this is supposed to be a filtration system that we're building here. So inefficiency is, as I commented here, determines of how much of other unwanted elements remain as waste. And efficiency defines how much of the target element is retained. So we are non-zero, zero. So just fuck all. These are defaults. So if we just do a new one, it'll be pointless, and if you try to use it, it'll give us a if filtration target equals none, print invalid filtration target in string self. Which happens when it is initialized. When we initialize it, then we also want to give it what is our desired efficiency, our target, and the inefficiency. Game Jam 2. It's a 2-week jam, but I'm taking a frustration break right now. Yeah. Sometimes you need those. You gotta let those ideas percolate, because sometimes it is, you take your little break, you do something else, and that's when inspiration strikes. If it's a percentage, then they are complementary, and one is not needed. Well, it is, because we have a list of zeros and ones for every single element in the element list. Currently, the list only has 4, but we're gonna want to build a longer list. Then we take because we're using the same list then for the other, the actual power, raw power dictionary. But for this one, it'll have actual floats that go beyond 1. And we multiply for this one. Oh, and also because I want there to be, because some of them will be more efficient and more inefficient or less inefficient. These two will not equal 1. These must be, Oh, that at least was not the plan. Now I realize, wait a minute, I'm doing this ass backwards up a tree, like I said, aren't I? Now, we'll continue with this one, yeah. Because, if they're both 1, that is the same as them both being 0. So it takes everything and everything else. So I want to know how efficient we get and how much bullshit comes with us. All of the bullshit or none of the bullshit. Because then we build a waste dictionary and a power dictionary, and then we save those, because I want to know how much of whatever waste we have left. But if we do so they equal 1, because then the ultimate power dictionary might also be very imbalanced depending on what the inputs were, and we want it to be mostly targets, some waste. The waste should never go full 0. I don't want anything to have absolute perfect efficiency. So the efficiency should we can have perfect efficiency but not perfect inefficiency, so we can get 100% of our target to remain, but there will always be some inefficiency, some waste. So we'll have a maximum value for waste being 0.5 or something. We'll figure it out. Back from ads. What'd I miss? Welcome in. Oh, I'm just wondering about the thinking out loud about Sankiro's logic here. And of course, I don't know if you heard, how the frustration breaks are very important, because sometimes, doing something else helps your ideas sort of percolate, and then you help figure out what was the issue. Was it actually that much of an issue? And because sometimes you might be over-engineering or overworking a problem that wasn't necessarily that big of a deal. At least for me, I get stuck on things. And as here I mentioned that if it's a percentage, then they're complementary and one is not needed for efficiency and inefficiency. And then I had to just think through my logic here, do I need them both or do I want them both? Because the efficiency should only affect our target element. I guess we should have some sort of logic here to make sure that inefficiency cannot be higher than efficiency, because, well, that'll make weird shit happen. But then again, we can figure that out at a later point in time. Because yes, the efficiency simply determines how much of our target element remains after post filtration. And I was thinking we can have a perfect filtration of our targets. We get actually all of that can remain, but waste the inefficiency should never be at a true zero. There should always be some. But that was like later, like down the line, when we actually start tweaking and doing some actual like game design. Right now, we're just trying to build an engine that kinda works. And for this, I was thinking we can have the inefficiency and efficiency still remain here. Having a check that how they balance out is something we can add in later when we start, tweaking shit. Right now, it's up to the designer to not fuck up. And we add these as the exports, so if we then make proper like resources, as in the engine allows, then we'll see these on the side, and we can look at those values and tweak them, and it should work. So now in init, when we do a runefiltration.new, you'll ask for these or do that. Then based on these values, we get a copy of this one, because this one just doesn't new one when it exists. Copy of the element. We grab our values from here, and then we do a little for loop through the filter dict, where we just filter dict lm equals inefficiency, and filter dict to filter is the efficiency value. First, make sure everything has the inefficiency, and then we change the efficiency as needed.
Hello, bro.
Hey Axel, hope you're doing well. My first attempt at going solo for a game jam. I'm primarily a 3D artist, but I'm attempting to tackle some programming at the moment. Ooh, nice one, Caffeinator. Yeah, game jams are excellent for that, because they give you, a timeline, a project to work on, and, you do your best. I think quite like having a decent sort of motivation. That's why I really enjoyed the 3-hour game jams of the Tri Jam, because it's such a sort of like low cost of failure. 3 hours, no one expecting anything super fancy from you. So then doing anything that even barely works is like a victory. I did it. I got a game. It kind of works. Awesome. So then that helped me like keep on going, and now I have like all that like morale boost from getting those 3-hour projects to work. And now I'm finally spending some time trying to get something slightly more complicated to work. Coding a game spell system? Yes, Axel. That's exactly what I'm working on. It's going to be like you build your own spells out of runes. So now I'm like trying to figure out the code behind the logic of how do we create the runes, and what do runes do, and how do they affect the sort of elemental structures here. Now, this looks like it works. Can't really test it that much, but we can look at the power source class. Yeah, you don't need this one. This is something I just copy pasted in so I can like see how have a nice visual reminder of how this shit works. There we go. So init new total power float 100 total power, new total power input power equals new elemental power dot new input power dot add altitude magic total power. Look at we get a float power element mountain total and 2 and divide by elements amount total for element. It's dumb, but it kind of works. Good enough for original testing. So here we go. We initialize this thing into existence. And activate rune. Well, the thing is here, I want to just new unfiltered elemental power, or new unfiltered dictionary, new unfiltered get elements. Plus equals. I don't give a shit about the calculate total. There we go. Save. Do we get errors? There we go. There we go. So just you add unattuned magic pretty much. Where we go. Oh, it's already there. So we'll get spell, state, brackets. There we go. Row underscore power dot 3 hours may be time to make a low poly character in 3D. Maybe animations. So long as the animations are extra simple. I can't imagine getting a fully functioning 3D game in 3 hours. Yeah. The thing is, you're allowed to have teams, and everyone can have their own 3 hours to work on the game. Because the idea is to push on your skills to just prioritize design, planning ahead, that kind of stuff. It's more like designing like because you can do as much planning and like pre-work as you can, but all the actual development, art and stuff needs to happen within that 3 hours. So yeah, my graphics were low poly at best. Sometimes they were just, actual literal like just polygons, triangles doing things. Because it's still a fun challenge for, a 3-hour game dev kind of thing. You're trying to make a running game, just, like the Google, you're out of internet game where you run and jump. That's a good challenge to do in 3 hours if you haven't done anything like that before. And maybe possibly if I've got all the models pre-prepped and all the scripts created ahead of time with minimal tweaks to address the jam prompt. But even then, it would be a tight fit. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, if you want to, you can do 3 hours to see, can you make all the animations work for a game? You can use 3 hours to see, can you make an engine? Like, can you make the logic of the game work? They want it to, and so on. Yeah, I rarely had enough time for the art, but then again, the game also says using pre-made assets is a-okay. So if you have pre-made art that's like generic enough, not pre-made for this specific project, but something generic, and I grabbed it from here. I ended up using a few times art from itch.io, which also where the game jam is, and we could use that, and then I just have to, credit it, properly. I'm like, okay, music from these and art from here and so on. But then I made the actual game run. You're not trying to make a 3-hour, Vampire Survivors. No, that's months. That's a year's worth of work kind of thing. If you want to make anything complex, just making the most simple running game, jumping game. Monster come out from this wave fighting thing. It's a good challenge. I enjoyed it. I'd have to get back to that eventually. But for now, we're going to mainly focus on this one. So the raw power, it had, which function was it? Add to unfiltered. And we give it one of those, which is a stupid name. So we'll change this to just add power. New power deck. There we go. Because the concept of here them being filter unfiltered no longer makes sense. Okay, power source class 19 parse error expected identifier after dot for attribute access. Yeah, dot add underscore power. And I shall give on to the input power. And currently that's it. That's all it does. That's absolutely a-okay. So we create this thing, has a default value of 100. We have 4 of these, so we'll have 25 in each of the 4 elements for testing. So the power source is simplistic enough to freaking function. That is a-okay. Yeah. Hey there, Time Lord. Hope you're doing well. Now seeing you around. Okay, so yeah, these will become eventually slightly more complex, but for now we're just doing like just hard numbers divided by how many elements we have and spread all across those. Works for now. So spell set, raw power, add power, input power, spell stick dictionary. Heckin' perfect. So now we look back at the circle base. Now the idea is to then, we got the projection thing working, even though there's some code happening inside here that needs to move from inside here into the whole projection rune, but that's for another day. But currently, if we change details within the rune, here it'll work. Because get attack is currently return final attack. We have the final attack. Now, currently we're doing everything. The idea is to then have sort of like do the math through all the runes. We do that only when necessary. Like when we create the circle for the first time, or when something affects the environment that might affect how your spell circle works. That's when we recalculate what does the attack actually look like. Other than that, we save in the final attack all the details that has to do with the final attack. And yeah. That way we can have a get like final attack function, which only returns this one, so we don't have to do all the math every single time we do an attack or something else does an attack, because I'm hoping to use the same system for enemies as well. So we can build different kinds of attacks. Currently, all it does is shoot a bolt, and we need a little bit of logic where we would then be able to identify what is the main element of the attack, and depending on that, change the color, because we have a few pre-made assets here we're using. The eventual project will, of course, have, original everything. But, when building things, using pre-made shit is a-okay. I mean, you can have them in the final one as one, as long as you just credit people correctly and you actually have the rights to do it. So final attack base. So array is rune base, currently just has rune projection new. But now we're gonna have to add a rune power source dot new. It defaults to that 100. That is a-okay for now. And then a rune filtration dot new. Now this one, we will actually have to put some info inside. So I'll give you. Sorry, I'll go fire. No, we don't capitalize those. Got to remember that one. So yeah, this using strings to identify things makes me itchy. I misspell things too easily, so we're gonna work on that, change that eventually. Right now, we're just gonna build this in the kinda works. The most important part, the efficiency, we'll have at 0.8. The inefficiency, we'll do the 0.2. There we go. So now we have the inputs. And yeah, we want to add some logic for the LM array where it will recognize if it is or isn't meant for normalized values between 0 and 1? And if so, make sure that your values are within bounds. And that's something we can figure out when we get there. Right now, we're doing it the ugly hard-coded way. Okay, so now we have an array of the rune base when we go through all 3 runes. From power source to filtration to projection. We know the projection works because we tested that out last time using this setup. So from get attack, we'll have to change to... We know that one works, so let's look at the logic here. We do funk and... I don't know, check circle. It's always one of these things, like how do we name these so they make enough sense? Here we return an attack base, that's fine, and we don't want you to shut up, so return the final attack. There you go. How do we get here? So okay, so first things first is like another silly little function here. No, not silly, but it will do a func of reset spell state. No inputs, no outputs. All it does is spell state attack as the value of attack base new. New damage, elemental power. Yeah, works for me. And waste has a value of elemental power new. And the same for raw power. Now, this one just puts in new ones, and thanks to the magic of more modern languages inbuilt, like trash handling, I don't need to worry about freeing the memory. I guess if we use CPP, then I would, but we're using GDScript, so it'll handle it. So check circle. First thing we do is we reset our spell state. Gotta fix that. We're not having a spate here, spat. So we reset that one to make sure we all got, clean shit in there. Then, for rune containers, which currently is just an array, you might even maintain that as a functional array in the background. It'll work just fine. Because then we can use that to then link to a visual UI where then the character will be able to click and drag these runes from their storage into their, the rune circle that they're building. So we can, behind the scene, they can absolutely be an array. We'll just have to visually declare hey, the rune sort of circle starts here and then goes that way. Now, of course, I was thinking of making more complex circles with more connections. We'll look into that. Because a part of me is kind of thinking can we do linked lists here, right? Because then we can have, multiple pathways and things getting all kind of weird and funky. Because I want the runes to be also sort of able to function independently. They're given the spell state, they do their thing, and that's it. And that way, the order doesn't matter. I want the player to be able to build bullshit that doesn't work. It's important to allow the player to fuck up. Especially because that means I'm not pre-designing the way things should work, and players might find better, ways to do things that I hadn't considered. And I want that to be possible for the game. I want it to be, I want the engine to allow for more complexity. Now, for rune containers, we do rune dot activate rune spell state. In its log. Basically, that should be it. Then, final attack. Oh, we can just copy that one, can't we? Womp. Because here, as you can see, we're doing a lot of like just manually setting things. So now we can change. You comment on all of that. Get attack simply does return final attack, which was sort of what I think get attack should do. Just gets what is the final attack. Check circle will now also return the final attack, but it actually also builds it properly. Does the calculation. Okay, so when we do an attack, who's calling this one? Let's see here. I do believe when player clicks the player manager, I believe it was. Globals, player manager. Launch attack, transform 2D, so we know where the attack is and what is its orientation. Attack manager, spawn attack, transform, runic circle, get attack, which will now be changing to check circle. We save all our changes, press F6, and we what? Actually, that's the game crashes. There we go. Invalid access to property of or key of type string on a base object of type dictionary. Wonderful. Attack LM, set LM main LM, elemental power main LM waste average, blah blah blah. Turn to attack. Inside here. Property key of type string. The attack LM set element. Main LM. Elemental power. Main LM. Minus waste. Alright, let's look at what the free frack have I done here. That's bar attack LM. Elemental power has the value of elemental power new. Alright, fuck it. I can't. Even better. We cut that thing out of there. All of it completely. We open the projection rune. I was saying like, we don't want to do this today. Nope, we need to do it absolutely now. Rune projection. So, yeah, this need to be renamed. See, here we have activate rune does turn to attack. Control V. Turn to attack is now here. So we've been given the spell state dictionary. Spell state attack as the value of attack base.new, and we give it a raw power. Turn to attack. With a waste UFO. Alright, fair enough. So we need to have what exactly is the dictionary or elemental power structure we give to the attack base to carry the actual damage to the enemy. Right. The raw power has value from elemental power. Raw power and waste has value from waste dot get underscore elements. I believe it was. Turn elemental power duplicate. Perfect. Our new power dictionary. New power get elements. Or just plus equal this shit together into here. Filtration, get these. We set these. Yeah, because the projection pretty much also does a its own filtration, where the amount of sort of waste stuff is. Go partial pathfinding done. Might be nap time now though. Hey, well done, Caffeinator. Pathfinding is a tricky thing. I know because I've read about it. I have yet to try to make it. I'll get there eventually. So far, my pathfinding has always been like just walk toward player, go straight. Nothing else. No other logic. Well, no, it's true. Okay, I had another one where there had leads the amoeba just randomly swimming around. Made a little aquarium thingy. That one was fun. But if you got it to work, excellent. And nap time. Nap time is always good. Wait. So we're gonna just copy these for now. Look at elemental power. No. Projection. B. The power dict and a waste stick. Do we even care about the waste stick? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Because, oh yes, we do. Because we have the power dictionary, which is what we're going to use for the actual attack. Calculating total, waste averages, all this bullshit I don't give a shit about. So, none of that. Create attack. Yeah, this was the old one when I just manually did stuff to sort of test. So now the activate rune is the proper one. Still experimental, I guess, but seems to work all right. There's a whole navigation system in Godot 4.5 to exploit. Ooh, nice. I'm still on 4.3. I really should update at some point. But I just, I do my simple things. I haven't really found the need for it yet, but I really should. Would be fun. So power dict, waste dict. We spell state waste. Yeah, because we can use the add power. And they just, because that one just pluses shit together, right? We use that one here. No. Waste dict. Yeah, we're using set, which is wrong. Good thing I mucked about here. Add power. We get an entire elemental power. Ooh. Func. Add underscore power underscore dict. New power dictionary type dictionary output void otherwise the entirely the same thing or elemental power new yeah, this one just has an extra step where it takes an elemental power structure, and this one just straight up dictionary. Now we're repeating ourselves, so with the whole DNR kind of thing, what you want to do is you do this, and then you call that one. Not what we need to do now. Go to filtration, and this is now set element dict. Gets changed to, oh, and also stop the simulation. I know the problem. I'm working on it. Add power dictionary being the waste dictionary. Because we don't know, whenever this thing is activated, whether or not there is already waste in the waste. Just like for raw power. Now, raw power was edited through this. So that is why we are changing what the raw power was, and whatever now we've added into our new waste dictionary is added to the total waste dictionary, because multiple things, multiple filters might be affecting the waste, whereas we always replace the raw power with the new one. So we use set and we add. Add to waste, set the power. Excellent. Projection. There we go. Right. So we have the power dictionary.
C1 Able Angriff. C1 Able Angriff.
Hey there.
C1 Able Angriff. C1 Able Angriff. C1.
Welcome in, Raiders. How are we doing? Ooh, we can finalize the character controller and enemy AI by the end of the day. I should be a full 2 days ahead of schedule. Oh, Caffeinator, I hope for the best. That sounds like it'll either, it'll just work correctly the first time you try, or then it'll just, it'll probably might end up taking those full 2 days. But thank you, welcome in, Raiders. Thank you, Caffeinator, for that follow, and thank you, Potato Baked Gunner, for that follow as well. I hope, I really do appreciate it, and hope we both of you have a most wonderful day. And welcome in, Raiders. If it ain't goddamn Claiborne, how was it with 7 Days to Die? I saw he was heavily modded. I do believe I saw Michael Jackson from Thriller in your game. Looked kind of neat. Hey there, Aurelia. Hey there, Yumi Bomber Boy. Hey there, James. How you doing? And hello there on Green TX. Thank you as well. And hello there, Sina Mina Wen. Hope you're doing well, love. And hello there, Esekoisa, Real Zamir, Radu, Constantine. How you doing? Everything good? And nothing works correctly the first try. That can't be counted on. Exactly. And if it does, you'll just get increasingly paranoid and might over-engineer it to be extra broken again. Because sometimes you get lucky and you just happen to build it in an adequate way. It's extremely unlikely, but sometimes it does happen. Glad to be here. Glad to hear that, Aurelia. And welcome in, Raiders. Hi and hello. Those who don't know who I am Hannu, son of Hannu, variety streamer, and as you can see currently, a very amateur game developer. We have, during the past year, I've been trying to take part every weekend in a game jam that happens every weekend, known as the Try Jam, where you have, as the name implies, only 3 hours to make a game. Now you can have an infinite amount of time to prepare, in theory, though the theme is decided on a Friday. The game jam ends on a Sunday, and you can use whatever 3-hour window you find that suits for you. There's no rewards except feeling good about yourself. And currently, for this year, I decided to finally start a long-term game project. Technically, I discovered that I'm restarting an older project that I kind of forgot that I started already. I think about a year ago on stream as well. I then ended up abandoning that project. Now we're jumping back into it. Because it is a game idea that's been stuck in my head for ages, and I just need to get it out. So that is the goal for the year. Might be doing some game jams in between, but during this year I need to get this project into a functional state. The ultimate goal is into a state I can ask so that I can sell it. Hopefully we'll get it finished. Most likely, we'll hopefully at least get it to some kind of early access state. And Heather Claiborne saying, "Ahoy, Hannu." Yeah, we had to kill the King of Pop several times. Ooh, as you do. Very true. He always comes back. The new server is looking like it's going to be real trouble, and therefore real fun. Ooh, lovely. Also got in some Abiotic Factor and Dungeons and Dragons. Nice. Both of which will be /are regular Sunday things for me. How goes Hannusen? Well, so far it's going pretty well, actually. It's one of those things that it is not the most exciting thing to watch me build a game on, because we're trying to build background logic for how everything works, and in doing so, things break down, and I realize where my logic was broken, so we need to rebuild things. Right now, we're trying to make something as seemingly simple as making the attack system actually work. Well, the attack crafting system, because that is the goal of the game. That is the idea that's been stuck in my head. I want to make runic magic a thing, where you craft your own spells. So inspired by Noita very much, but instead of using pre-made spells in a list of first this leads to that and so on, we're using individual runes at a much more granular level, so that instead of having a fireball and a triple cast, you instead have a power source and a filter and a projection rune, which can then, if you combine those of the correct type, you will in fact create a fireball. And then we want to have different kinds of projections, like are these like bolts of magic you're throwing? Is it a beam? Is it an area of effect? And how fast is it? How efficient is it? And so on. So for now, we're both building these most rudimentary base class building blocks, hard coding some values to just test it. Because last time we got the projection sort of magic rune to work, and now I broke it, and I'm rebuilding it, because the logic remains the same, we just need to, make it work again. Because I had a certain function in what I feel is completely the wrong place, and to move it here, and now to make it work better with what we've sort of figured out today. So today we've been working on getting the filtration system to work again, and the power supply. And yeah, right now we need to figure out how do we turn the raw power into an actual attack, dictionary of elements. We're beginning with our testing with the classic four elements of the Western mythology of fire, air, water, earth. But I'm hoping to, and that's what I'm keeping all the elemental sort of like structure is in its own separate resource / structure dictionary in this game, so that they're all stored in one place, because I want to add a more complex elemental system for this game eventually, because crafting is the goal here. The game itself will be top-down, think Vampire Survivors, Brotato-like, where you fight hordes of enemies and collect magical resources to build better spells. Closer to Brotato than Vampire Survivors, in that much of the build crafting happens in between runs, rather than Vampire Survivors, where everything happens during the run. And more of a roguelike than those games, because you're not choosing random characters that you want to go in with, but you're building your own sort of magical golem thing that you're sending out into a very magical land to harvest the locals for resources. And we're using that as a sort of crafted magical robot that you send out, because that will sort of narratively also allow for how can the game continue even if you die. Well, either you broke the robot, you lost all those resources. Very tragic. Better luck next time. And then you try to build more durable robots which have more better magical, more complex magical runic circles, which allows for more complex magic, and so on and so forth. That is the idea here. We'll see how well it works out in the reality. And I think only 1/4 of my brain leaked out of my ears and nose during your explanation. But I am but a mere goon in a world of programming kingpins. I am very much an amateur. No true Mega Master here. But I do my best. And seeing as it's a larger project, so now I'm also finally adding freaking comments and things in my code. Now, so we have a raw power thing. It's been going through the filtration. Now the filtration is designed to be to carry some inefficiency. So effectively, the attack rune will also have a inbuilt filtration. Now, how would we do this? We've calculated that the Right, we figured this out last time. I think we did take the average of everything that is not the sort of main attack. So this is like a single element attack. Maybe later we'll add ways to have multiple elements in a single attack. I think that would be fun, because then you can have sort of elemental interactions, some of them good, some of them bad. I want to make sure that with it being sort of magical engineering focused, the player will have the opportunity to build something that absolutely does not work. Nothing better than a game where you build a weapon that just murders you, and you end up killing yourself, just like Noita. And also, not quite that roguelike, more like a roguelite in the sense that multiple levels, but in between, there's a lot of heavy emphasis on the whole meta progression thing. So how does the filtration here happen? I think now we have a copy of the power dict. Then we have a copy of it to turn into the whole waste dict, in theory. Another game like that, you might consider it looking. Primordialis. Ooh. I will write that one down. The name sounds familiar. Thank you. I will have to look into all these games I'm getting like recommendations for. But that is for when it actually works and we need to like design it to be, you know, fun, balanced and all that. Right now I'm just making like, can I make this engine even run? I think the opening of Spores gameplay and much more involved. Ooh. Is that the one with underwater fishies and you build them as well with all this weird genetic stuff? I think I saw Reaper play that. Oh, it seemed fun. That's one yet? Yeah, okay, nice. Yeah, I saw replaying that one. Seemed interesting. That one is, yeah, that kind of stuff is cool, but it might be a little too complicated. I don't have quite the skills for that level of simulation. We just want to, I want to have the player just build their own boomstick, essentially. Build your own weapon. Kind of game. You're on your way, I'm sure. Well, thank you, Claiborne. Very kind of you. Now here you can see we have details for attack speed, shape, size, multiplier, and so on. So these should be also then defined by something. Yeah, that's probably something I was doing there, wasn't I? Oh well. We'll figure it out. Ahoy. Time for me to go lie down. Enjoy the stream, buddy. Thank you for the raid, and thank you for hanging out, Claiborne. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you get some good rest and some lovely sleep, my friend. Take it easy. Okay, so. Yeah. Let's try this one. With a var for a total, which we shall make a float, start it out as 0. Then we do for lm in our dict. So for each element inside there, we do then first we do total plus equals power dict elements. We'll add a couple of these for just holding shit. So we'll do highest. Main underscore lm. Oh no, we do need the highest here. Wait, didn't we make one of those inside here for like check main elements? Or temp power floats, elemental power if elemental power is greater than temp power equals elemental power element, turn main elem. So check main element. So var main lm is of the type string. What we have here is spell state raw power dot check main underscore lm meant. So then we have a name of our main element. Cool. So then we don't need... We do, I guess. So we get the name of the main elements. Then we calculate what is the total, followed by total we just do this here, like if lm does not equal main lm, do that. Oop, there you go. Add it to the total. So this is everything except var 2 underscore div and to div plus equals 1. So add 1 per div. Because this is considering like, okay, so we use the average of all the waste to determine how much do we remove shit one more time. So for element in main power dict, we're done with that one. We do total. Wait. God, I'm dumb. We have a dictionary. Can we get the size? Number of entries in a dictionary. Wonderful. And I don't need this shit. I mean, this 2div shit. We'll use the total though, because we then get the value. So total divided equals, so total equals total divided by power dict dot size minus 1. And we'll put those inside parentheses so that little math happens first. So we get the size of how many elements do we have minus 1 because we want the total, main element to not be counted for that one. And if element does not equals main element, total plus equals 90. So now we have an average inside total here. Which means let's see here. How do we do this? Do I make a change in the power dict to the waste state? We don't have any other ones here. Spell state, raw power to turn to attack, spell state, waste. We change this one into elemental power dot new dot or new underscore new attack elemental power equals elemental power new. Wonderful. So now we have a new attack and a name that is empty. Now, we have that one. So we do for ATK underscore dict of a dictionary that equals new attack get elements. So this should not be an empty but elemental dictionary. And then we have ATK dict main underscore lm takes the value of power dict main underscore element minus the newly calculated total. Attack base elemental power new. What you get is the new attack. Attack dict main element total. Then new attack dot set element dict, that the attack dictionary. Yeah, so now we have the new attack dictionary with all, which has zeros in everything except for the main element, which is from the power dictionary minus total. And then waste dict main underscore element has also the value of total, because this is all the power we had in our main power. We remove the average of what we want to be waste, but that's left somewhere, so we put that as the main element here. All the other elements are in their waste number. So now spell underscore state comma waste, then we dot add, look at the filtration, we copy paste this one pretty much, waste add power dict waste dict. Let's add some spaces here. Attack dict main element has the value of power dict main elements minus total. Yes. New attack set element dict attack dict. Yeah. So it should be all zeros except for that one number we put in there. Waste dictionary main element equals the total, which we remove from the other one. So leftover. Then into spell state attack, we create a new attack base with the new attack's attack information, spell state, waste, add power dict, waste dict. Now that will hopefully work. And we want to then have modifiers for attack shape, size, speed, all that. Right now, these are zeros, and I do believe the attack bases, hard-coded base values, should kind of work. Now we press F6 and we see, how hard do we crash this time? There we go. The invalid active property type string and a base object type of dictionary. Add function, activate rune. An attack dict main element, power dict main element minus total. Interesting. Invalid access to property or key. Type string. So, what is our main elem at this point? Nothing. Main elem, the value string from spell state, raw power, check main element. So, we'll go here. We do check main element string variable temp power float to 0 for elem in elemental power. If elemental power elem is greater than temp power equals elemental power elem, and main elem equals elem. Right, so we're gonna add a little boink there. We stop. So when the code reaches that point, bonk, it'll stop. Breakpoint. So what is my temp power is 0, you say? Where's never 0? So we do here, none. So that'll also help us see if this has been activated. Now most likely this means that the error is much further back in the logic. Because I don't really see how this would not work. Okay, actually, we can just check here, temp power, elemental power, elem. Dictionary size 4, see, they're all empty, nothing's happened there. So there is at least one problem right there. So we stop. We jump here to player manager, attack manager, do a spawn attack. We give them the attack transform, which got here, then the runic circle dot check circle. So we go to the runic circle, which is a circle base.new. We do check circle. Output an attack base. Reset spell state. We do that first. For rune in rune containers. Rune.activate rune spell state. Final attack. It's got your spell state attack. Alright. First with a power source, followed by filtration, followed by rejection. So we will add breakpoints, activate rune. One there. And filtration. One there. We press F6, launch that level thing. We have a nice little testing base, so all this shit still works. We launch an attack, it starts breaking down. Now let's see here, spell state, raw power, add power, input power will be yeah. Now spell state's a dictionary of 3. Self, sprite, total power 100. You have this one. You do raw power. So at this point, nothing has really happened. That's okay. Now, how do we move the next step? Continue. Next one. So now we've gotten this far. So now we'll see what the fuck's happening here. Locals. Dictionary, filter dictionary. You're all zeros. Okay, so the problem is further back, I think. Spell state, raw power, dictionary. Okay, so we got to the end of the activation here, so we don't know if this is the problem. We've got the elemental power class that we need to change the name of, but that's okay. So we do let's see here. Power source, spell state, raw power dot add power, input power. We look at the elemental power here. Add power, new power, elemental power. Ah. Input power is an elemental power thingamabob here. I'm going to check on input power at this state. Boom. Reach that one. Input power. Input power does have the numbers. So add power is the broken thing. Add unattuned magic works, no, but not to the add power. Add power, new power, elemental power. New power, dictionary, new power, get elements. Yeah, so now we get a copy of this thing into new power dict. Or elem in elemental power. Elemental power elem plus equals new power dict elem. Well, add a breakpoint there. We click the button. Get to this point. Raw power is empty. Add power is getting the input power, which we can see here does have 25s. Okay, press F12. So the next step, we're all the way down here for LM in elemental power. Now, new power has these values. New power dict also successfully copied the dictionary. So okay, so that part is working. LM currently is fire. Counter position is on fire. Should work. The new power dict. F11. Next step. Elemental power LM plus equals new power dict. And elemental power here should be fire. New power dict. They're all 25. And elemental power. Ah, would you look at that? So that worked. And we look at this one again, see, okay, so every step we take that worked. Check circle, spell state. Now we here. Now we check spell state. Local stack variables go rune. Rune activate rune spell state. Raw power. Okay, has the values. Okay, so adding the power is working. Next break happens here. Ah. Our filtration dict is all zeros. Inefficiency. Oh, what? I didn't know I could just do this. Oh man, that's amazing. So, currently waste has everything. Power dictionary, empty. Filter dict is all on 0, which is a problem here. So, for LM, in filter dictionary LM has a value of inefficiency. And filter dict to filter stop that. So we change that to filtration target. Interesting. So add a breakpoint there. Press F6 again. Ooh, breakpoint immediately here. So new efficiency 0.8, new inefficiency 0.2. Filter dictionary, everything's on 0. Filter dict LM fire has a value of 0. Should have the value of 0.2. So if we step down 1, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That all worked. Next step. Fire rate's 0.8. Okay. If filtration target equals none, do that. So when we initialize, our filtration target here has been fixed. Oh wait, 0.2.2. That should be fine. Next step. Moonbase. Initialize. Just go through that once. Ruin projection. Yeah, these are all getting just still like initialized, I think. Honor devour, attack container, attack container. So now we activate to spell state raw power. Take a couple of steps and we see that it is in fact working. There you go. Check circle. Here we go. Now we're going to enter this place. Spell state has raw power. It has stuff in it. Okay. My filtration target is currently saved as fire. Filtration is this shit. Filter dict at this point is null. So we take one step. Now we have filter dict. Aha. Ah. I never save it. That's why it's good to have these kind of tools to have you go through the code step by step. You can help find all kinds of weird shit. Like, for example, why is this not being saved? Why is all that information disappearing once we get this far? And that's because, well, we never did save it. So it makes sense that it's not there. Hot and diggity and dog. So filter filtration target. Yes, efficiency. Filtering target none. Okay, so once we get all the way to the end here, then we do filtration dot set element dict to be filter dict. There we go. Now if we remove some of these breakpoints, and we save. Projection did not have one. Power source had one, but we don't need that one. We press F6 and we'll see. Crashed again. Now, oh no, it didn't. Breakpoint. There we go. Remove that one and F12. Heckin' shit works. No, does it actually get the values we want? We go to level. We need to be kind of a little bit fast with this one, I guess. Whoop, wrong one. This one. We do ba 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 ba. Oh, surely one of them. Then we'll look at this attack here. Transform speed, multiplier path. Animated sprite, animation is firebolt. Damage is currently at null. Speed 200, size 1. Constant speed 4. Yeah, if this one is something we don't give a shit about. Most importantly though, I do believe it's under Player Manager. We find the Runic Circle, Default Circle, Rune Container, Final Attack, Damage, Dictionary, 15. Yeah, from 25. And it loses first 0.8 its own filtration, and then because there's waste left, that also removes some shit. And that's the whole waste thing. So that 5.4. Anyway, lost 10 from 25. Nice. Oh my god. That shit actually works. Not that, not that exciting, but it works. So it is very exciting for me. And I'm like, ooh, whoa. Yeah, the disc then inside this elemental power thing, we can just keep on growing this list. Trying to make this nonsense a bit more streamlined and trying to remember to save changes we make. And in Circle, the point is what we've done with all of these. There's one last thing to do, which is calculate how big of a cooldown do we get. And that will be depending on the amount of waste energy. Now, for a while there, I was considering maybe we'll just, store the waste energy as, just one number. This much shit. And depending on that one, we'll calculate the cooldown. We can have then the circles themselves have their own, efficiencies for how quickly they can get rid of all that waste energy. Essentially like cooling fan and whatnot. But that'll be for tomorrow. We have achieved so goddamn much today. You don't even understand, Chad. You don't even know. But hot diggity dog. Oh man, feels good. But again, I just missed an ad break because I was thinking oh cool, now I'm gonna activate an ad break. No, it was already active. God, I need to go to the toilet, and it's gonna be shitty. But yeah, we're gonna go to the toilet, and then it is time to start playing again. It's time to enter the magical world of freaking Peräjärvi. But yeah, until then, enjoy the chill tunes. I'll be right back. See you soon. And I have returned, my friends. And it is time for us to start looking into other options here. Into gaming. Switch back to this one so we can. I hope that's saved. Okay. We jump here. We check here. Everything seems to be a-okay. Let's see here. Changing the category. Mount a car. Coming up with a funny name. There we go. 3 cups of coffee here before breakfast. Not going to end good. All depends. Yeah. I'd have a little bit of a toilety moment there, my friend. Let's hope for the best. Let's see here. Click on done, and I will now end the stream over on the YouTube side and change the category and start again soon. So